Good evening, everybody. At this time, please silence your cell phone. Be advised these proceedings are being recorded. For those physically present in the council chamber who desire to address the city council during the meeting, please complete the request to speak form from the available. They're available at the front of the entrance of the city council and present to the city clerk. Speakers physically present will be called upon at the appropriate time, and each person is allowed 3 minutes of speaking time. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. City Council, Tuesday, July 28, 2026 at 6 p.m. And tonight we're going to be in closing in honor of a long-term resident, Mario Sanchez. Our hearts go for, our prayers for the family. And you will be getting a signed copy of the agenda tonight and a certificate mailed to you. So make sure you give the address to the city clerk where you want it sent to. And then our invocation will be given by Pastor Mark Matthews from Grandview Baptist Church. Now, Pastor, you're still not selling that church, right? Okay, I just want to make sure because the rumors are still flying around that church. All right. So please join me. I'll be leading the Pledge of Allegiance, and we'll be having invocation by Pastor Mark. You're going to be doing invocation. I'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
Sorry to hear about your loss, and our thoughts and prayers will be with you and your family in the passing of Mario. Let's pray. Father, first we do lift up the family of Mario Sanchez and ask that you would comfort them in a very special way through the presence of your Holy Spirit. And it's at these times that grieving is normal and natural, and people need to be ready to minister to this family. And I pray that you'll open those doors for all of us here, if that's possible. We thank you for the opportunity to come and gather in a free society where issues of the city government can be discussed openly and freely and decisions are made. Pray that you will grant the whole council wisdom that only you can give. You are the sovereign of the universe, and you have established governments, including this one. We submit to your will and ask that your will be done in everything. Thank you, Lord, for your love and your grace and your mercy through your Son, Jesus Christ. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. Put your hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Pastor Mark. Madam City Clerk, can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Brown?
Here.
Councilmember Allen?
Here.
Councilmember Wilson?
I'm here.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabino?
Present.
Mayor Hussey?
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Reordering our additions or removal from any items on the agenda.
Yes, I don't want to pull the item, but I'd like to separate 1, 2, and 3 from 4. So we'll have 2 separate consent votes.
All right. 2 separate. So item 4 would be a standalone vote.
A standalone consent vote, not for discussion, just for consent.
Okay. Item B, public comment. This is opportunity for members of the public to comment on any item not appearing on the regular agenda because of restrictions contained by California law. The City Council may not discuss or act on any item on the agenda, but briefly may respond to statements made or ask questions for clarification. The mayor may also request a brief response from staff to questions raised during the public comment or may request the matter be agendized. Madam City Clerk, we have public comment.
Yes, sir. Joseph Weber?
Joseph.
To the mayor and wonderful people of Grand Terrace, I'm here on behalf of Mario's family, and they would like to express their deepest gratitude for the love, support, and kindness you have shown during this difficult time. Mario was a lifelong resident of Grand Terrace. He was a servant of this community. His family moved here in 1971, and Grand Terrace was the place he proudly called home. He was born in Riverside. Mario grew up here, attended Terrace View Elementary, Terrace Hills Middle School, Colton High School, and his two children are proud Titans graduating from Grand Terrace High School. Throughout his life, Mario gave so much of himself to the people and community around him. He believed in helping others, showing up when needed, and making Grand Terrace a better place through his actions, generosity, and care for his neighbors. The outpouring of support and the many kind words shared about Mario have meant more than the family can express. It brings comfort to know that his dedication, kindness, and love for this community was seen and appreciated. Thank you, Grand Terrace, for honoring Mario's life and for reminding us that he was not only a part of this city's history, he was a part of its heart. With sincere gratitude, the Sanchez family.
Thank you, sir. And this is the bittersweet, when God calls somebody home. We don't know when, but He does. And like I said, prayers for the family. It was a beautiful prayer that Pastor Mark gave. And if you need comfort with them, Pastor, the church is up here on the hill. I don't know where you go to church, but it's always good to have comfort, with the pastor and have counseling. But I know people that know him. I personally didn't know. I probably met him, but he will be missed. And nothing but good things about Mario. And, you guys should all be proud, and I know you are. And he was one of Grand Terrace's sons. So he said this meeting's in close of his honor. And if there's anything the city can do for you, please reach out. You can always, my cell phone number is on the agenda. Well, it's on the council thing, so you can always call. But, our hearts and our prayers are for you. And, may God bless you all. Thank you for coming out tonight.
We have Evelyn Gonzalez.
Good evening, Mayor Bill Hussey and City Council members. My name is Evelyn Gonzalez Salamantes, and I am a member of Community Coalitions for Change, which promotes health, wellness, and reducing underage drinking and other drug use. I have been with the coalition since I was a baby. I am passionate about creating a meaningful change in my community. I'm here today to speak about a community event, Pause and Relax in the Park, which we are hosting on August 15 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Richard Rawlins Community Park. The event highlights the importance of smoke-free outdoor spaces where community members, youth, and families can gather safely. Smoke-free outdoor activities such as this one promote a cleaner, healthier Grand Terrace by reducing the impacts of tobacco and cannabis related. We invite you, Mayor Bill Hussey, City Council members, and residents of Grand Terrace to a peaceful day and education that uplifts our local outdoor spaces. We will have a meet and greet with the East Valley Therapy Dogs, a mindfulness walk, resource tables, and giveaways. We have brought flyers for anyone interested in attending. We hope to see you there. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. So you said it's going to be August 15th? At what time?
From 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, I'll be in Wyoming. I don't know if I can walk around there and count. Now, did your sister put you up to this?
No, I volunteer myself.
So you were actually helping your sister when she was doing this, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you for following your sister's footsteps, and thank you guys for keep on pushing forward on this. And hopefully, we'll get some people out there, but, I'll definitely be there for the next one. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Tony Rosales.
Good evening, everyone. Tony Rosales, Field Representative for the Assemblywoman Leticia Castillo. The Assemblywoman is finishing up her last week of legislative recess. This is the last week she will be in district. Next Monday, she returns to Sacramento for the final month of voting on legislation until they conclude at the end of August. The Assemblywoman is very happy to host her second annual backpack giveaway this past Saturday. She partnered with Living Word Inland Empire Church and gave away 200 backpacks. All those backpacks are gone. And she was very thankful for all the support that she received from the community. I know the chamber, Grand Terrace Chamber, spread the word about it, and thank you so much to all the city council members and mayor for spreading the word about the event. We'd like to thank all the volunteers from Living Word Inland Empire Church, Grand Terrace Lions, Reach Out Jurupa Valley, and San Bernardino County Fire Department. I know we were joking at the event that we had hoped they would spray us all with the water. We would like to thank everyone who braved the heat and volunteered their time for the Assemblywoman's backpack giveaway. It was a very great success, and we are very thankful for the community's support. As always, if anyone has any questions or concerns about anything happening within the state, please feel free to reach out to the Assemblywoman's office. My name is Tony, and I am happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
And now I have one email public comment submitted by Michael Artiega dated Monday, July 27, 2026, and it reads, "There is illegal activity being committed by a code enforcement officer named Gil Garza, California Penal Code 632, no third-party consent. He has committed a crime. If that's not grounds for termination, then that means the city is more concerned about its employees than its residents. Everyone sitting in those chairs has a commitment to the community. There have been many complaints about him, and you asked for evidence. You have it now. What you do with it is up to you. I hope it's the right thing for your residents. You sit there and ask for money for more law enforcement, more flock cameras, but yet you let the employees of the city commit crimes themselves. Who should we trust? Why has your community complaints fallen on deaf ears? I hope the mayor has not forgotten the core values, honor, courage, and commitment." And other than that, there's no other public comments, sir.
All right, thank you. So we'll go ahead and close the public comment, open special presentation. Tonight, we're going to be recognizing a special young lady that I known for a while that, I don't know, would you be considered my Girl Scout pushy, druggery, whatever, you don't want to buy the cookies from you? But Simone Bacon, let me introduce Maya Bacon. You want to come down and speak on your daughter's behalf? And she could come down too, because we want to hear your words of wisdom.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for honoring Simone tonight. My name is Maya Garcia Bacon. I'm Simone's mother and her troop leader, Troop 542. Simone has been a Girl Scout since kindergarten, and she has achieved the highest award a Girl Scout could receive, which is the Gold Award. What she did for that project, it was a 2-year project entailing research on the different learning styles of children. And after she did that, then what she did was she is a graduate of Sacred Heart Academy, a Catholic school in Redlands that she went through kindergarten through 8th grade. What she did is in 3rd grade, the students, they received the sacrament of Holy Communion, and they have lessons. And so she went to their book, and it's divided into 5 chapters. She created, 6. She created a coloring book for the children, and each chapter is based on the lessons that they received. She did it all herself. She did her own original drawings. She came up with prayers, and she created a reflection page for them, and she presented it to the students this year. And it was especially honoring because her kindergarten buddy was receiving her first communion this year as well. And so in addition to having the book published, she also created a social media page so that it is accessible for religious teachers throughout the public. So that is what Simone did.
Wow, that's a lot. Good thing I didn't do a coloring book. It would not have worked out. So you're a pretty good drawer?
Kinda. I would consider myself average, but
Okay.
maybe.
Well, would you like to say some words, Simone, and how you did this and how'd you come up with this and your thoughts?
Well, my original idea of learning styles came, I personally have dysgraphia, so sometimes it's really hard for me for like writing, like working with writing and reading a lot. And so I wanted that to be more acknowledged in the public. I don't think learning styles are exactly acknowledged fully, and it's not very accessible to get things for students. It can be hard. You have to go through a lot of testing. You have to find certain resources, and I didn't want teachers to feel pressure by that. And then it's essentially hard to do something based with religion, because religion has to be very specific, communion or confirmation or baptism, especially in the Catholic Church. Those are very important events, and so their processes can be long and they can be hard, and so I wanted to make sure it was accessible, but also something that they could learn and understand and grow with too.
It's such a blessing. A council member would like to say any words or anything?
Yeah.
Councilmember Allen?
I'm so impressed and proud that you're a member of our community and happy that we're able to honor you in this way. Congratulations on your successes, and I'm sure you'll see many more in the future. My goodness, a published writer, my goodness.
Thank you.
Okay, well, Mayor Pro Tem, you have something? Mayor Pro Tem has a little certificate she'd like to read for you, and we'll take a picture, but we're proud of you, and I know your family's proud of you.
Thank you.
First of all, I would like to thank you as a former fellow Girl Scout. I understand the work, and so thank you so much for that. And as a speech language pathologist, the importance of being able to reach others and meet them where they are with their learning style. I don't feel enough of us are doing that and taking it into other areas of life outside of the four walls of just intervention. So thank you for being proactive, for pouring into our next generation, and for making God accessible to everyone. On behalf of the City of Grand Terrace, we would like to recognize you in recognition of outstanding achievement, dedication, and service to the community through your years of commitment as a Girl Scout. Through leadership, perseverance, initiative, and a passion for helping others, you have made a positive impact on the lives of those around you and exemplified the highest standards of character, citizenship, and excellence. Congratulations on this remarkable accomplishment, and best wishes to you on your continued success in all your endeavors. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
You could just leave them right here. We'll make sure Daisy doesn't eat them all. But.
Give it to the sheriff.
Yeah,
There you go.
Can I sell them in Wyoming while I'm on my field trip? No. I can eat them on my road trip, though, huh? Thank you, guys. God bless. Okay, what a blessing. Item D, consent calendar. The following consent calendar items are expected to be routine and non-controversial, will be acted upon the City Council at one time without discussion. Any council member, staff member, or citizen may request removal of the item of the consent calendar for discussion. Is there any public comment?
Not on items 1 and 3. We'll wait for 4.
Okay, well, we'll vote on items 1 through 3, then we'll let the public comment for 4. Do I have a motion for items 1 through 3?
A motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We don't need any readings on 1 through 3. Please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, the public comment for item 4.
Jeremy Briggs.
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Jeremy Briggs, Walnut Avenue. I know the majority of you guys know I am. Adrian, how you doing? Long time. Anyways, I just wanted to come up. It's more of a follow-up of the first reading that we did on this. It went 3-2. I know I make public online questions, but this is more of a direct for member Sabino and member Brown. You guys both voted no, and Sabino abstained. With no follow-up, no answer why your vote is no, what's your backup plan, what's plan B? I mean, city attorney basically broke down everything. It's not worth it. And I'm not trying to have this city go broke. I know you don't. So what is the game plan that you would have voting no to this housing element to put us where we need to be? And Sabino, you abstained. It's throwing your hands up, don't want nothing to do with it. And Hussey, I know you're trying. You're fighting. You're fighting for us, but these guys next to you, they're bulldogs. You need a bulldog. You need somebody that's going to ask Brown, why? Please, I want to know. There's a lot of us that want to know why and what's your game plan to the no. So that's all I got. Please, you three, stay with the yes. Move us forward. Don't bankrupt us. You guys are smart. Jeff, if I'm agreeing with you, with our history, I know something's wrong. So, and it ain't personal. I'm trying to move the city forward, but bankrupt us is not the way to go. And if he's up here pleading to you, I've known him a long time. In the short time I know, he's a man of few words. And for him to say it in the way he was intense about it tells me it's not worth the fight. We're just going to buy him a new Mercedes or a new whatever he drives, and I don't want to pay for that. So I'd rather put more money in these two. So please tell me, what is the no and what's the abstain? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Briggs. Any other comments?
One email comment submitted by Johan Gallo dated July 27, 2026, and it reads, "The decision to adopt the Baker Group plans for our community was difficult for our mayor and the council to make. Given the risk we face, it's the right decision to impose the actions by the state of California. Their remedies would not have allowed us any control. They include the builder's remedy, lawsuits, withholding of state funding, and other actions other cities are now facing. It's the right decision for our community." And there are no other public comments, sir.
Okay, we'll go ahead and close public comment. I'll make a motion to move item 4. Do I have a second? Second by Councilmember Brown. City Attorney?
Yes, I will read the title of the ordinance into the record. The title of the ordinance for second reading and adoption is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Grand Terrace, California, approving zoning code amendment ZCA 26-03, zone change ZC 26-02, and environmental review E 26-04, amending the city zoning map and Title 18 zoning of the Grand Terrace Municipal Code to establish the R3-40 high-density multiple family residential district to allow residential development at a density of 20 to 40 dwelling units per acre, and to rezone approximately 97.1 acres of property located throughout the city to the R3-40 designation consistent with Housing Element Program Number 1 of the city's 2021-2029 housing element, and a determination that ZCA 26-03, ZC 26-02 are exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, pursuant to Public Resources Code, Section 21080.085, period. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion passes. Councilmember Brown has abstained.
That was supposed to be no, I'm sorry.
Do you need another?
We could redo it really quickly,
All
just
right,
for,
please vote again.
thank you. All right, motion passes. Councilmember Brown has voted no.
Thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and close the consent calendar. New business. designating voting delegate, alternate Cal Cities 2026 Annual Conference and Expo.
All right, good evening, Mayor and members of council, Daisy Alcacer, City Clerk. So the League of California Cities requires member cities to designate a voting delegate and a alternate delegate for their 2026 annual business meeting, which will be taking place September 25 at the Anaheim Convention Center, To ensure that the city of Grand Terrace is able to vote on legal policy matters, the council must appoint one voting delegate and one alternate by resolution. So staff recommends that the council designate its representatives and adopt the resolution for submission to the league by September 1st, 2026 deadline. If you have any questions, I'm available.
No, council, you have any questions? Jeff?
You're for sure going because you're the president of the division, right? So can you also be the voting delegate and be
Yeah,
the
they
division?
like to leave it for other people, other council members. So, would you like to be the delegate, the vote? Are you going?
Oh, I hadn't decided yet.
Okay. Councilmember Wilson?
I propose that I be the delegate.
Okay. You want to be a delegate? Do we have any alternates?
I'll serve as alternative.
Okay, so we
No,
have
no.
a delegate, an alternate, and so I guess I'll second that. So we need a vote for that?
Yes, we do.
So a delegate would be Councilmember Wilson, alternate would be Councilmember Brown for the Cal City 2026 Annual Conference. It's not at Disneyland, but it's in Anaheim, right? Okay. So please vote.
Motion passes unanimously, and just for the record, there was no public comment on that
Oh,
item.
yeah, I just forgot to ask about the public comment. I had to mess up once, just
You're
so
okay.
you keep me on the,
You're okay.
I want to make your job easy, Daisy, so. All right, item 6, consider adoption of resolution to conduct first reading of ordinance relating to establish a general transaction of use tax of the rate up to 1%, presented by city attorney.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight, I am presenting on the proposed transaction and use tax measure. So this item supports goal number 1, ensuring our fiscal viability by identifying additional revenue sources. So as background, a transaction and use tax measure was placed on the 2024 November ballot at the general municipal election. The voters did not approve the measure at that time for a 1% transaction and use tax measure. Earlier this year, the City Council has explored both a special tax and a general tax for the November 2026 election, and after discussion with the council a few times, the council directed to move forward with the transaction and use tax as a general tax for the upcoming November election. So tonight we have the proposed ballot measure for consideration. It is, again, proposed for the November 3rd general election. It is a transaction and use tax at a rate of 1%. As a general tax, it would be, any revenue would be for any governmental purpose. There is no specific, any specific use for it. It's basically for any general purpose that the city has. The measure would read as follows: to maintain and enhance essential city services, including police protection, neighborhood patrols, 911 emergency response, and rapid response times, shall the city of Grand Terrace enact a 1% sales tax, provide approximately $1.2 million annually for general city use until ended by the voters, with all funds staying local, public spending disclosure, and independent annual audits. Staff estimates that the 1% tax would generate $1.2 million in general fund revenues. Costs anticipated in preparation for the ordinance and the resolutions tonight include our fees to prepare the initial or the impartial analysis, cost for reviewing and or preparing any written arguments and rebuttals, and then no more than $175,000 charged by the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration to administer the tax. And again, that would be after the tax is approved by the voters. So tonight, there would be two actions to be taken. The first one is if the council decided to move forward with the ballot measure, we would adopt a resolution. The resolution would do three things. First, it would order submission to the qualified electors of the city, a measure relating to a transaction use tax at the general election to be held on November 3rd, 2026. Second, it'll set the priorities for filing written primary arguments and rebuttal arguments and directing the city attorney to prepare an impartial analysis regarding the transaction and use tax measure. And third, it would direct staff to accomplish other election matters required by law. Assuming the resolution did get adopted, it does require a 4/5 vote from the council. We would then proceed to conduct first reading and introduction of the ordinance, which is included in the agenda package tonight. The ordinance would then go to the voters on November 3rd, 2026 for a vote. And if it were approved by 50% plus one at the election, we would then bring this ordinance back for second reading after the election, when the election is, results are certified and declared by the city council. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Council have questions? Councilman Allen?
Yeah. We had a presentation a few meetings back on this also, and when we were trying to decide about whether to go with the special tax or the general tax, and we had just, it was our first meeting after we got the results back from the polling consultant. And I think it came up in discussion about why can't we just put both measures on the ballot, have them compete against each other, and see what the folks, what the voting populace here in the city wants. You know, I mean, they could, each ballot initiative would have no vote on it, a choice, and then of course whatever, either the special tax or the general tax. Now, when we were discussing it earlier, was there a downside to doing that? Do you recall? Anyone? Mayor?
Well, I know we discussed it, and it feels like one's going to cancel the other, so if we need a 50 plus one, the other one will, and everybody votes yes, and we need 2/3, then that 50 plus one might not make it, because people will be voting the 2/3, and the 2/3 might not make it because people did the 50 plus one. So, and I know what you're saying, and I think, you know, it's a good idea, but do we put a gun to our head maybe and risk that? Adrian, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah.
I mean, could you? I guess you could. I mean, I would give you a non-legal answer if you wanted. The non-legal answer would be, would it confuse the voters such that they may vote for neither? And that's the general rule of thought that I've heard over the years, is that you wouldn't want to put competing measures because of that. But again, that's an educational campaign. That would be up to.
You don't think we could do the title and word the title in a manner that it would not confuse the voter? You don't think the wording special tax versus general tax would not?
We could. I mean, but if you notice, like in the ballot title, I mean, it's a general services measure, so we'd have to call it a special services measure or a special tax or something, highlighting it. Again, that assumes that the voters understand the difference between a general and a special tax, and that's where I think the education has to go to make sure people understand it. But again, in my experience and hearing what other consultants have said, is that if there is a lack of understanding, they tend to vote no on both. But
Conrad?
Yeah, that was discussed in the survey, the polling results, and the consultant addressed that, and that the feeling that having both of them on there would cannibalize votes for one and the other, and that neither would pass. I think he even, if I recall correctly, there was even a statistical number for that showed them both failing, and that was in the polling results.
Okay, yeah. Well, all right then. That was what I wanted to ask about, is how y'all felt about doing something like that. All right.
No, I think it'd be nice to have a choice, but then confusion, and being in this state for 62 years and started voting when I was 18, seems like there's always confusion on the ballots anyway. You know, no means yes, yes means no. But I have a question. Now, the public can poll this at any time according to this word, right? If they feel that this city's not using the tax the right way, they could
yes,
vote
I
on
mean,
it to bring it to being pulled off the tax roll? Because you said that on there that they could cancel the tax
yes,
or poll at any time.
correct. So if the voters want to pass a measure to repeal it, they certainly can.
So if the voters feel like the city's not spending the money, they could bring it back and vote it out.
Certainly.
Now, it's say that the voters, because, yeah, we wouldn't be here right now if we had a voter initiative, you know, and, but we needed like 400 signatures or something from that. Is that correct?
I don't know what the final number is, but yes, they would require a good amount of signatures.
So if the voters, I mean, here's a hypothetical question. If the voters decide they didn't like this and they think that we are wasting our money, and they did come up, and the voters decided to finally come up and get us, you know, a survey or get the required signatures and bring that 2 years later, can that supersede what we have now? Or would they have to vote no to get rid of the general tax and then the voters bring in the special tax?
No, I mean, again, the general tax would be, in general, you can use the money for anything. So if the voters wanted to propose a special tax specifically for police, law enforcement, whatever they propose, that would be special for that. So both could coexist.
So this actually gives them an insurance to try this general tax. If they want to pull the general tax after 2 years and the voters came out and say, hey, you know what, we don't think it's working, let's go get 400 signatures to get a special tax. And in the meantime, they come back with 400 signatures for a special tax to be on the ballot for the voters that doesn't need 2/3 of the vote, and then we could pull the general tax, correct?
I mean, I'd have to see procedurally
I mean,
how they.
you know what I'm saying, it's a long run, where the voters still have control of this.
Of course, yes.
I think it would require a ballot initiative, a ballot measure, wouldn't it, to cancel it?
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd have to go to the voters.
It'd have to go on the ballot and be voted on to cancel the tax.
So if the voters wanted the special tax, would part of their reading for the signatures would be to recall the general tax and bring a special tax?
Correct.
That would be something that they would have to do.
Correct. And the reason I asked procedurally is because I don't know how they would word their initiative.
I don't know
measure,
either.
so
I mean,
don't know.
I'm just thinking outside the box here. I'm trying to get, you know, like, have the voters trust the city, because the general tax, because of course in the state they don't, but, you know, we're pretty good, we're pretty
Mayor.
conservative. But if they can do that, that's an option for them.
Sure.
Okay. Councilman Allen?
I'd like to just ask you to think again. We're not voting on anything, but just think again about the value of having a resident citizens budget oversight committee or a public safety oversight committee that we could have. It'd be that many more residents involved in the community and in the city's learning how the city functions, and support and being able to work and get the message out into the community. If you had a oversight committee of 6 or 8 or 10 or 12, similar to what we did with Matt, with the one that your wife was on, you know, with the public safety issue. You know, oversight committees are great, and I would just strongly encourage you to think about that, and I think it would help the citizens and the residents of the city have a more trust and more confidence in the staff and the council. That's all.
No, you are correct, Councilman Allen, because I was on the oversight committee for our bonds for the school tax. Are we going to put oversight committee that be part of the verbiage in the, that we want to have that?
That's a council call, whether you want to have that. I mean, we did not put it in because there was no specific direction to put that in, but we could certainly add that in if there's a direction.
Okay. Councilman Wilson?
City Attorney, is there any reason that you know of, and maybe we should pull in some other advice here with the staff, that we can't, after the general tax is passed, restrict the use of funds to just police?
So I don't think you can do that as part of this, as part of a general tax measure that gets voted by the.
I understand that. As I said, after the tax is approved.
So after that, if the council wants to take an action with a resolution to say, hey, for our budget year, we want to ensure that all these funds are used for a specific purpose, that's the council's call, but the council cannot bind future councils. So in a future budget cycle, if the council wanted to change that policy and say, hey, we want to build a new city hall or do something like that, the city has the ability to change that.
Would they not also have to have findings that would support that kind of a change?
I don't think they would, no, because again, the general tax would allow for any governmental use. So long as you can define it as any governmental use, you can use that revenue for that purpose. There's no, it's not like a conditional use permit or like a land use permit where you have to make certain findings in order to take the action. That is purely a legislative call, and the council can make that decision, again, so long as it's a general governmental use.
Okay, but you don't know for a fact. You just, what we're saying is probably.
No, I mean, I'm certain you can do that.
Okay.
I'm also certain you cannot bind future councils.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Councilman Brown?
Thank you for the presentation, Adrian. Getting back to the mayor's question about rescission of the tax, I think what he was getting at was if the citizens brought forward a ballot measure to rescind the tax and they wanted to approve a special purpose tax, my question to you would be, would that be a violation of the single subject rule for a ballot measure? Is that why you were equivocating on responding to him?
Yes, because again, the rescission would go to, and that's why I was going to the procedural aspect, because I don't know exactly how it would go. But can they vote to rescind this ordinance that gets adopted? Yes, they can. Then can they also request a special tax? Yes. Now, that would be a separate vote. I think you're correct. Separate ballot measure, but that can be done. Just a matter of how they do it.
Right. But the question would be legally if they could be combined into one ballot measure, and that would be something that would take some legal research.
My gut feeling is no, because I haven't researched it, but my gut feeling is you're limited to the single purpose so that the voters have transparency and understanding specifically what is getting adopted.
Okay. Then the next question is simply, at any time, we could form a citizens oversight committee at any future meeting, correct?
That is correct,
If the council chose to do so. Okay. And then the same thing with passing a resolution restricting the revenue from any proceeds from any tax measure. We could do so, which would remain in effect until it was changed by a 4/5 vote of a future council.
Well, in that case, because let's assume this gets passed,
Right.
then at that point, how that money is used is determined by a majority of the council. So it would be a 3-2 vote.
Okay.
Because it'd be just a resolution of how the money would be budgeted and used.
Okay. And then that being said, so for me on this issue, it came up, and we've talked about it in the past, and looking at these survey results, one thing I think that we should all be clear on with the public is you've heard this conversation in the questions that have been answered by the city attorney about the restriction of the use of funds. regardless of whether it's a special tax measure or a general tax measure, let's say we're spending, and I'm throwing these numbers out and they're not accurate, we're spending $2 million now annually on our contract with the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. And the measure raises an additional $1.5 million. So then we have $3.5 million to spend on the contract with the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. A future council could come in and change that, and they may say, great, you've got $1.5 million dedicated, we're going to spend $1.5 million, and we're going to spend $2 million elsewhere. Because we've only dedicated $1.5 million for special revenue for that contract. And so regardless of whether it's a general measure or a special measure, there's always room for the council just to change it. We're spending more now than we're going to raise in any tax measure, regardless of whether it's a general measure or a special purpose. And so I see the value in, one, the feedback that we've gotten from the community through the survey, and two, regardless, it gets us where we need to be from a public safety standpoint and the ability to address our dire community need to improve public safety in this city. And so that's why I was in favor of moving forward, even though I am the last person that's in favor of raising any type of taxes. So anyhow, that's where I sit today. I don't have any further questions from you, and I appreciate the work that you've done on this ballot measure, and along with Conrad, to get us here to this point. And we will see what the residents decide if they want to make this investment in our city. So thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you for that presentation. I know that in the past, we've tried to put a Citizen Forward initiative on here and couldn't get it across the finish line because of the concern and the push for no taxes. And I sat on the Community Public Safety Ad Hoc Committee along with Councilman Brown's wife on that committee because of my concerns in the community. Again, I'm a homeschool mom, and I couldn't go out with my kid in the community because of those who were wandering through the neighborhood. It wasn't safe then, after being elected and going out and trying to be proactive in going through the community, patrolling and making calls, calling non-emergency, and immediately after calling non-emergency, calling Lieutenant Fries to say, hey, I made a call and I need a follow-up, and then following up again to find out the resolution. And the number of calls that I get from the community regarding public safety, that hasn't changed. And while I understand the community's concern with general tax versus a special tax, we need another deputy on our streets. We absolutely do. And the fact that when I sat on the last committee and we put this measure on, for it to lose by 154 votes was a punch to the gut for those of us who just want to be safe on our streets, to the families, to the seniors who are out there, to the gentleman who was physically assaulted in his car, to the people who had to wait, 30, 40 minutes for someone to arrive. It is our job to ensure that the community is safe. All we can do at this point is get a measure on the ballot, and now it's up to the community to decide whether or not they want the community to be safe. Again, I know it's not ideal for some because they wanted this to go a different way, and I get that and I understand that, but there are structures that we are able to put in place to ensure that. And again, we have community members who hold our feet to the fire. every day, all day long. And you elected us to represent you. You elected us to be your voice. And it is time to make a decision. Do we want our community to continue to be as it is? Or is it time to about face and start making it safe? So that's all I have to share on that. Thank you.
Councilor Allen?
Are we still in the question section?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my question is, the $175,000 fee that we pay to the state to manage this money or to administer it, am I correct with that? That's in the slide presentation.
Yes.
That we'll be paying them about $175,000 to administer this, to give us back the money. Is that correct? Now, these are state employees, am I correct, or is this some private company that we're contracting with?
No, this is a state agency.
It's state agency, state employees, paid by taxpayer dollars, and they still charge us a portion of the revenue, even though it's a state agency with state employees?
That is my understanding. I'll defer to staff.
It's kind of like getting a traffic ticket, isn't it? Yeah. So is that a set fee or a percentage of the amount that we pay?
I believe it's a set fee. But
Okay.
again, I'll defer to staff for any.
Oh,
additional
okay, I'm sorry, was it, probably Christine knows more
Set
than,
fee.
no?
It's a set fee.
Oh, okay. So, is it, hey, Mr. City Manager, the fee that we pay, is that a percentage or a set fee or?
It's a set fee.
Okay, is that, all right. Well then, and that was the question I had. And I also just want to, I want to comment on your statement and just remind the residents that as much as I would also love to see an additional patrol car, I want to remind our residents, Grand Terrace is the safest city in San Bernardino County by statistics. So just saying.
All right, we have any other questions? Okay, public comment?
Jeremy Briggs?
Good day, Mayor, members of council, Jeremy Briggs, Walnut Avenue. I just want to bring up the sales tax. You guys have been down this road multiple times, especially you three on the right that's been on this journey a long time. Hussey, Alan, you guys have just both said the trust issue with the residents. It's going to be that way every time. It's been that way since I first got involved in 2017, 2018. It was always about the trust between the residents and council. Nothing has changed since that day, and it's been that way since the first day Wilson probably walked in the door. So we need to do something different. General tax is not what the residents want. I just spent the last 2 weeks talking. The same amount of people or more than that $16,000 survey we did. I've talked to more people in the last 2 weeks than that survey did. And everybody, I think I got 4 people that said that they would be okay with the general tax. They want the special tax because they want the power. They want to know that their vote went to the law enforcement to bring that extra deputy to town. Because there's no trust, I hate to say it, there's no trust that the general fund fee is going to go to law enforcement. So it'd be a great idea. Do both. Give us the responsibility as residents. Shake your head, I understand, Matt, it's okay. But give us the trust, we want it. I could be at my daughter's soccer practice right now, but I'm here. I worked all day since 4 a.m. this morning in the hot sun, but I'm here because I want the extra deputy. I work with these guys every day. Every time I'm on a tow with one of these guys, 2 o'clock in the morning on the sheriff call up in Honey Hill, who knows what's going on this side of town, and I'm with these guys till 3:34 in the morning, and that's 2 hours of no deputy patrolling the city. And that's just here. I do it in Loma Linda. San Bernardino, luckily enough, if we get a hot night in San Bernardino, you can have all the officers in the whole city of San Bernardino on one call. We're not San Bernardino. We're safe here. But we need the extra deputy. We don't need to be paying the extra amount to the overtime, pulling Loma Linda, pulling Central Sheriffs. I mean, J.C. Wallace House has taken a lot of time. They're taking a lot of energy, and they're not seeing any consequences of it. I think if we start throwing fines and citations for every time that we have to throw a sheriff out for one of their delinquents, they'd probably step it up a little bit more. Because it don't seem like they care. I just talked to a bunch of people on the Barton corridor over here, and they tell me nothing's changed. I spent an hour in Grocery Outlet the other day, watched two guys panhandle. It don't help when residents are giving them money. We can all agree on that. I try to preach to everyone, stop giving them money, they'll stop coming. But everyone wants to be a nice guy. We got to stop. But give it to the residents. Let the residents take control in this, and I promise you the residents will show. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Briggs. Any other question? Public comment?
Yes, sir. Email public comment submitted by Johan Gallo yesterday, July 27, 2026, and it reads, "We've spent almost 10 years working on this, and there's no other option but to increase the transaction and sales tax by 1%. This matches the surrounding communities, so if residents are willing to pay 8.75% in other cities they shop, then why not where they live? There are constant complaints about the increased traffic and not enough traffic enforcement. The response times when calls are made, concerns for everyone's safety, and the list goes on. You must ask yourself, what can one deputy effectively do when pulled in numerous directions, especially when our community budget doesn't provide them with the resources they need to effectively do their jobs? We know we're paying for additional coverage with overtime, but it's better to use our budget dollars to adequate coverage for our community. Consider Grand Terrace Sheriff Department staffing pre-2010, which was 1 24-hour unit, 2 40-hour cover units, 1 40-hour traffic unit, and 1 40-hour service specialist, versus today, 1 24/7 unit and 1 40-hour cover unit, plus the overtime costs. I hope the mayor and council move this matter forward and that our community gets behind voting in favor of this for our residents, businesses, and the sheriff deputies' safety. Thank you for your time. Sincerely, Johan Gallo. And there are no other comments, sir.
Okay, we'll close the comments and bring it back for council for discussion. I think, do you have something else you wanted to add, Council Member Allen, for discussion? Anybody else? Well, I have one discussion, and that's what I'm saying about why in the world didn't the residents go out and get signatures 2 years ago for a special tax? When we're up here saying, what are we going to do? Only one person I know that came and they missed it by a couple signatures, and that was Johan Gallo. He's been working on it for 12 years. 12 years with some of the other residents who helped build this, substation. So when the residents are asking why you're doing this, I want to ask the residents, why didn't they do their due diligence and go get signatures so we have a special tax? I have to bring up this tax during my election, which could shoot people in the foot, but I care about this city, like Mayor Pro Tem Sabino said. We care about the city. We love this city. This stuff about the Wallace House, I'll tell you what, I get the reports. We got more stuff happening outside the Wallace House than we do the Wallace House. Wallace House has been taking care of stuff. The panhandlers, I go over there, I see it. It's coming from the laundromat now over from the grocery outlet. I talk to those panhandlers. But my question is to the residents, you had the opportunity to go get signatures and try it that way. And I would have been the first one to sign it. So now we have to do what's best for this city. We have to bring a tax, which I'm not a tax person either, but I love our city. And I'm going to trust this council, and I do, and I'm going to trust the staff to make sure it's done right. I'm going to trust our law enforcement that they'll do right. I want to see them go home every night. I want to see, I was fighting a guy, and 3 minutes takes a long time. I did it for 26 years in federal law enforcement. If you're fighting one-on-one, A minute takes forever. I don't know what would have happened if I didn't jump on that guy, but I know the guy that I helped thought his life was in jeopardy. And we had one officer at that time. And I just called him, just put out a call for a homeless encampment, and he was over there checking that. So that was my question for the residents. So the council, do I have a motion or a second to move it forward, or any other options on this?
Motion to approve.
Mr. Mayor, but before we do, can I propose the motion?
Yes.
Okay, so this will be a two-step process, and I want to identify two typographical corrections that I wanted to incorporate in the resolution. So the resolution for adoption is as follows: a resolution of the City Council of the City of Grand Terrace, California, calling for the placement of a general tax measure on the ballot for the general municipal election to be held on November 3rd, 2026, for the submission to the qualified voters of an ordinance to enact a general transaction and use tax at a rate of 1%, 1.0%, requesting the County of San Bernardino to consolidate the submission of the measure with the general election to be held on November 3rd, 2026, providing for the filing of primary and rebuttal arguments and setting rules for the filing of written arguments regarding a city measure to be submitted at the November 3rd, 2026 general municipal election, and directing the city attorney to prepare an impartial analysis of the measure. Adoption of the resolution with two revisions. In the title, it has 1%, 1.0. There should be an additional 0 there, so that'll be added in. And secondly, in section 3, the ballot question, you'll see it says, shall the City of Grand Terrace enact, it says a 1 cent. It should say 1%, 1% sales tax. So with those two corrections, I would ask that the motion for adoption of the resolution be included. And it does require a 4/5 vote. And assuming that goes forward, then I will read the title of the ordinance for introduction and first reading.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem?
Do we have, is the motion officially on the floor or not yet?
Well, it was Councilmember Wilson made a motion.
And Councilmember Wilson, do you accept those two minor revisions?
I concur, motion 1.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, and then what Councilmember Brown asked about the Oversight Committee, if it passes, we establish it then, or do we need to put that on the,
We would need to put that in the ordinance if the council wants to do that.
does the council want to put that in the ordinance for the tax?
Yeah, I'd like to add that if the person that made the motion wants to add it, I'll still second it, because I think the Oversight Committee is very important in helping the residents, help get us through that trust issue.
Isn't that an alternate motion?
That would be, I would ask maybe before we take the motion, we take kind of a straw poll to see if there's even interest from 4/5 of you to incorporate that.
The Budget Committee part?
Yes.
Well, I agree with the Budget Committee, because I was on the Budget Committee for the bond issue, and we did find some discrepancies, and it does help to have a set of eyes on there. The Oversight Committee, not a Budget Committee.
Yeah.
Correct.
They're out there in the community, and when you need some signatures, you got a whole bunch more out there willing.
Mayor Pro Tem, you
I'm sorry, we're back in discussion. Lieutenant Fries, could you tell us on average the number of calls that are coming from the mental health independent living facility on the Barton corridor, and what percentage, if you know, those numbers are compared to what you're getting in general for the city overall?
Yeah, I don't have the exact numbers, but I mean, I send out a weekly update to council, and I mean, there's some weeks it'll be 0 calls for service over there. It'll be 1 or 2. I mean, I think the highest we'll see in a week is maybe 5 or 6, but I mean, I would say overall calls of Grand Terrace, it's less than 1% of the amount of calls that we get that deputies are responding to are coming from J.C. Wallace.
If I can add to that, we're averaging less than 3 calls a week. when you look over the span, because I'm sending you those information. And that's, on a per capita basis, is less than apartment complexes like the Heights. So it really is not a huge impact on the city's resources at this point. We've worked that down.
I'm not saying that the residents at the Heights are criminals, it's just that it's easy picking for
it's an
criminals to
easy-
go there to use them as victims.
It's an easy example. There's a group of people living in a fairly dense place. That's the only example with that. And this group of people, about the same numbers, have a little bit higher call volume than J.C. Wallace. So I'm not, as it was earlier said, this is a relatively safe community. So the differences are minuscule.
Does that answer your question, Mayor Pro Tem? Or
Yes,
discussion?
thank you.
All right, so we want to, I don't know if the council agrees, I agree with it, Jeff, the oversight committee for citizens to be
Okay.
worded in here, so how, we have to do a separate motion on that?
Well, again, if we get a straw poll of everybody wanting to do it, I can incorporate it into we have to read the actual language into the ordinance tonight. So is there a consensus?
Yes, Councilman Brown.
Thank you. Adrian, I'd like to see something, a measure oversight committee that's structured similarly to our historical committee, where we have a set number of members and the council members get to choose someone to serve on that committee. I don't think we should leave it open-ended where we're putting 12 or 15 people on a committee. It just becomes unmanageable. So I think we should keep within our structure, just like we have for Parks and Rec, something of that nature, that size and scope, and with a similar appointment process.
Okay, so I have some language. Luckily, I came prepared. I have some language. Daisy, is it possible if I email it to you, can you put it up on the screen? Are you able to do that?
Yes, I'll send it to AJ.
Okay. If you can give me, take a 3-minute break so I can.
Okay, we could go ahead and adjourn till 7:15, 5-minute break.
That's fine.
Okay, adjourn. All right, we'll go ahead and reconvene at 7:21.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
All right, so what we are proposing is, so the ordinance will stay intact as is, except for as follows. So 3.17.140, audit and review, that is unchanged. What I am proposing is adding in 3.171.50. It's titled Independent Oversight. It'll read, "The City Council shall adopt a resolution establishing an advisory committee and its meeting dates, purposes, and terms. The advisory committee shall meet publicly to review all revenues and expenditures of the transaction and use tax imposed by this chapter, review annual audit reports related to the tax, and make at least one written annual report to the City Council at a public meeting summarizing the advisory committee's findings and including any appropriate recommendations." So that would be basically accomplished by resolution. Then with respect to the remaining sections in the ordinance, the substance of those provisions would remain unchanged. I am just renumbering them. So severability will be 3.17.160. Council authority to amend will be 3.32.170. Effective date will be 3.32.180. And termination date will be 3.32.190.
All right. Council have any questions on that? Councilman Allen?
So just so I'm clear in understanding what we're looking at right here, a budget oversight committee, or what you're calling an advisory committee here, would be established by resolution, it does not go on a ballot measure.
Correct.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
So it would not need to be added, that language does not to be included into this?
No, it does not. It just said we will adopt a resolution.
Yeah. Okay.
And the other key point is, again, it's not a budget overview or budget. It would be a review of specifically how the revenues of this tax are being used. So it'd be limited to that purpose.
Okay. If the council decided at some point that they wanted to have a budget oversight committee that reviewed the entire budget annually or semi-annually or at a certain day, would that be a resolution item also, or would that need to be on a ballot?
No, that's a council call.
That's
You can do
council
that by
action.
resolution. You can adopt an ordinance to do that as well. So that can be done at any time.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And that does not have to go to the voters.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right. So we still have that motion in a second?
Yes, so I guess just so we're all on the same page. So the resolution that is proposed to be adopted is the one included in the staff report with the two revisions of the zero in the title, adding in 1%, 1.00, and then in section 3 of the resolution, clarifying instead of 1 cent, it is 1%. So that would be the adoption of the resolution that has been moved in second.
Okay. Well, I forgot, I did have one question. How involved can the council get this out to the public? Are we allowed to have town halls, or is that going to be strictly on the sheriff? And do we need a resident for this on that, or how could we, what's our limitations on this?
The general rule is that the city council and the city can educate the community and provide educational materials, objective materials about the measure. We technically cannot advocate for the measure. You know, we can look at the nuances of each one. Can we have town halls? I suppose we can, so long as, again, the information is objective. I would probably not have the council be doing it, maybe the consultant or city manager or somebody just providing objective information. That potentially can be done. We could look at how it can be done if that is the council's direction.
So the council can be at the town hall, but they just can't interject anything on that?
That's my position, but again, I'm happy to look into that a little further and see what
Yeah, I'd
further
like to
guidance I
know
can.
what our role can be and can't be, and then help out what we can for town halls, because education's the best thing. I mean, because I don't look at this as a tax, I'm looking at it as an axe. You know, we're asking people, we're asking our residents to, yeah, make a sacrifice and then help us, help the city, help our, to better secure. So it's a big ask to ask them, and but we're doing it because we need the help, and this is the only way we could figure this out. And there's also the Ferris thing going, and it also has outsiders help us. I mean, big example, High Grove, who uses our fields and everything else, which is great. We want the kids here and stuff. But they also use the high schools, and we're paying the extra bond for the school districts. So this will help the residents of Grand Terrace with outside sources coming in. So we have a motion and a second. Does the council have anything else before we take a vote? Okay, Councilman Allen.
Who's going to write the arguments? And especially the rebuttal? Will that be you, Mr. City Attorney?
Yes, I mean, we would write any arguments.
Okay.
We would do the impartial analysis for sure.
Okay.
All right. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Quick question for the council. Who seconded that alternate?
Councilman Allen. Motion was given by Councilman Wilson.
Wilson? Okay, perfect. Motion passes unanimously.
All right, thank you, council, and thank you, Adrian, and please,
Well,
residents, we need your help on this. Get the
Mis-
word out.
Mr. Mayor, so now that we've adopted the resolutions, we have to do the ordinance, the first reading of the ordinance as well.
All right,
So the first reading, the ordinance for first reading and adoption is entitled an ordinance of the City of Grand Terrace, California, funding City of Grand Terrace general services by imposing a 1.00% transaction and use tax to be administered by the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration with the revisions as shown on the screen earlier today, or a few minutes ago.
and yes, and then passes, we would love to have the residents really involved in this. I mean, this is a team effort. All right. So anything else, Adrian? We're good to go?
No, but actually, I did want to clarify something. So I was thinking the impartial analysis, usually it would be, arguments would be submitted by the city council, members of the council,
Okay.
not city attorney.
Well, I got some good writers here on the right and the left, so you don't want layman terms from me. I might put Marine Corps language in there, but. Okay. Anything else?
No, we just need a vote on the ordinance for first reading.
All right, well, thank you for your help, and thank you for the job you did, and thank you, council, for us having a unanimous vote, and now our faith goes into the residents voting for this. And I know
Yes.
they'll do good for our city. Thank you.
Yes, so we need to vote.
Oh, we need to vote again?
On the first reading of the ordinance.
Okay, so let's go ahead and, do we need a motion and a second on that?
Yes.
Do we have a motion?
I'll move the first reading.
Second.
Second. Motion and second, please vote.
And for the record, that incorporates the revisions shown on the screen, just for the record.
Okay. Please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
All right, we're done now?
We are done.
All right, thank you. Thank you, council. Future agenda items, at this time, the city council may propose any items for discussion for future agenda. Do I have any proposals?
Mayor?
Yes.
I may have an item. So this is, I guess, a question for Conrad and the city attorney. So in reading the Victorville Daily Press, and there's a mention county fire, and my request would be to have Conrad reach out to our county fire chief. County fire is exploring the opportunity. They're branching out and doing an aviation program, and what I'd like to do is offer up Grand Terrace as a pilot city for the rollout of the aviation program. The county fire chief has been really committed to innovation and technology, and they're testing several new pieces of equipment that I think would be beneficial to the unique geography and size of our city here. And I would like to make sure that Grand Terrace, basically, I would like to be the first city, one of the first cities that has the most cutting-edge technology to serve our residents. But if some of it's drone technology, wildfire suppression, and I don't know if it requires a motion to ask the city manager just to reach out and contact chief. And
So I spent the weekend before last about an hour and a half with Chief Muncy discussing this. And we have always offered to the county fire, because Grand Terrace is a little pocket by itself and is a very good place for a test bed for any of their activities, not just aviation, that the community is a great place for them to test activities. And we've done this with earthquake warning in the fire station and some their equipment that we're getting at the station. And the aviation was part of that discussion. So we have already offered that.
so is he going to move forward with Grant? Because of Blue Mountain, I mean, they have, a component of it is early wildfire detection and response. And so I wanted to make sure that was a tool that we had available to us.
The offer is in. It's still something he's assembling. I don't want to speak for him.
Okay.
But he was discussing possible rollouts next fire season, not anything we're going to be seeing this year.
Okay.
Because there's some grants, there's some funding he has to put together, and there's a lot of moving parts he has to assemble before this goes into, especially the aviation unit, goes into place. But we have committed that we are open to work with County Fire as a test bed for whatever they're rolling out.
Well, thank you, Conrad, for your efficiency and
Yes, that's not a future agenda item. We got that taken care of. Councilman Allen, did you want to, I thought you were pushing your button.
Oh,
You're fine? Okay. Any others? All right, we'll go ahead and close that. City Council communication, Councilmember Brown.
The only thing I'd mention is, so this last week I did have a chance to represent the city in Orange County at the California Joint Powers Insurance Authority's annual board meeting. City's a member. Had an opportunity to dig into their budget and really look at their programs, and we are getting our dollars worth from being a partner in that JPIA. And the only thing I would report back is that they did add 2 new member cities joined, but they turned down 7 due to risk exposure. So they are definitely looking out for the best interests of our city, and the increase that we have seen on our rates is all due to liability exposure, which is just the result of the litigious environment we have in the state of California, where jury awards and settlements have increased, and so there haven't been it's put a little bit more rate pressure on the liability component of their service to our city, but everything else looks well as far as the city's services we're receiving from the JPIA, and we're getting our money's worth out of being members in that organization. If you're interested in seeing the report, let me know and I'll scan it and send it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Allen?
so thanks, Mayor. On July 24, I attended the Santa Ana Regional Water Board oversight, or the Regional Water Board meeting, which was public comments on the MS4 permitting issue. I don't want to talk about it right now because I'm going to defer to Councilmember Wilson because he was also there officially, and Conrad also because he's involved in it, but I was there also for that. And on the 25th, I went to the ribbon cuttings for a new business that our city's doing, that's doing business in our city with the chamber. Went and supported the chamber in that effort on Saturday the 25th. And on July 27, which was just yesterday, I attended the San Bernardino County Quarterly Veterans Advisory Committee meeting, and we got some updates on some legislative issues. It's funny how bills can change from what the author who writes the bill wants to what the legislature ends up passing, but as far as for veterans here in our state, but some of the bills are still working their way through, and I'll just keep you updated on them. But that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Joe. Councilmember Wilson?
Yes, I did participate in the Santa Ana Regional Water Quality Control Board hearing on Friday at the behest of the mayor. And I'd like to read this into the record. This was my address to the board. My name is Doug Wilson. I'm a Grand Terrace City Councilman and a land development professional. Grand Terrace may be one of the smaller cities in the watershed, but the impacts of the tentative order on our community would be devastating. According to an independent analysis, Grand Terrace could face between $123 million and $126 million in compliance costs over the next 20 years. During the implementation period, those annual costs would equal 220% of our Grand Terrace general fund budget. the highest proportional financial burden of any city evaluated in the report. And they had a presentation up on the screen, and it showed us at the very top. Simply put, those numbers are not sustainable. I wanted to say something a lot stronger, but I stayed to the script. Communities our size do not have unlimited resources. Every budget decision hinges on balancing infrastructure, emergency response, road maintenance, parks, and other essential services. When MS4 compliance costs consume an overwhelming share of a city's budget, few resources remain available for the day-to-day operations that keep our city running. We simply believe environmental goals should be paired with implementation strategies that cities can realistically achieve. Please believe me when I say that I know our numbers, and this is not possible for us. A permit that local governments cannot afford does not serve our communities or our environment. It sets us up for failure after spending money we don't have. I respectfully request that you adopt a compliance pathway that cities of every size can realistically achieve while protecting water quality. Small cities should not have to choose between clean water and essential city functions, and thank you. So they are considering this, and there were quite a few jurisdictions that got up, as well as the County of San Bernardino, County of Riverside, and the County of Orange, and then all the various city jurisdictions. The board heard a lot of testimony, and if they consider correctly, they will restructure the money aspect of this in an achievable fashion. Anyway, that is my conclusion. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Doug, and thank you, Matt and Jeff, for being there and representing the city of Grand Terrace. And Doug, thank you for your wisdom on there and representing me. And when I called you, when Supervisor Rowell asked, and I said, well, I got a water person for you, so I appreciate it. So that and your knowledge. Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you. I just wanted to mention the backpack giveaway from this weekend with Assemblywoman Leticia Castillo. I actually, last year during her first backpack giveaway, I was in the back of the pickup truck actually unloading backpacks. And so when they asked this year, hey, would we come out? And I was like, yeah, what do you want me to do? And they're like, oh, you're going to work again. And I was there maybe about 9:30, 9:45 till about 2. It was bloody hot out there, y'all. It was a rough day out in the sun, but it was amazing just having the community come out and just being able to serve the number of people who were able to access resources, free health screenings. Thank you to County Department of Public Health, who was able to come out and not only just screen the kids, but families who were in need. Living Word Church, not only for providing their space and the setup, but also getting the volunteers to come out and assist and provide haircuts, not only just for the little boys, but little girls out there who were getting ready to start school. So they had a great setup, face painting, and an area where some of their members, if anybody wanted, they could have prayer if they needed that at that time. And I was able to serve alongside of our mayor. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Well, thank you. You were working so hard, you were making me sweat that day. I tell you that. I was like, whew. And, oh yeah, don't wear a black shirt too, and don't walk to the place either that day. But it was great. It was a great event, and thank you for our Assemblywoman sponsoring that. She's a great person, great representative for the city of Grand Terrace, and all the years I've been on the council and involved with the city, she comes around. Her staff are here. Even when it's not election year, they're here 24/7. They're here for us, and we really appreciate her. She's a blessing. And then, Yeah, what better thing to have a grand opening for a coffee place during the summer? So Dutch Brothers is finally here. I've been asking for that place for 9 years, and everybody who made it possible. Michael Newton, I guess he's one of the co-owners there, but I know that young man when he played football with my son. Great, humble. He's still a kid to me, even though he's 6 foot gargantuan, you know, and like a block wall, but great, great person. And it's another great thing for our community. And it also gives, you know, if people want Dutch Brothers or Starbucks or the coffee house, it's just another thing that will help the city continue to grow and thrive. And it's the, you know, thank you Planning Commission and staff who made it possible. It's a beautiful building, and we really appreciate it. My buddy was part of last Sunday, I guess there's a little fire in Pigeon Pass from a Mylar balloon, and he actually grabbed a shovel and helped put it out. And then he had to go to the ER because I guess he worked too hard doing it. But thank God, you know, thank the fire department. It was only maybe 2 acres. It could have went harder, faster, and now the mountain's pink. And if you see pink donkeys, they might have got fire retardant on them. But just to let you know, but you know, quick response. Appreciate it. That is a beautiful little canyon. I walked through there and stuff, and a lot of wildlife, but a lot of homes in that little canyon. Only one way in, one way out. So thank you for the quick response. It's great that I got taken care of fast. I attended SCAG in LA. It takes me longer to get to LA and come home than the 1 hour meeting, but it's worth it to have a voice for the San Bernardino County and Grand Terrace. It's, once again, I know we went through this housing thing, zoning, and it's 20 to 30 years plus experience, but now the biggest thing is SB 79, and some of these cities are looking at putting 100 residents plus in 1 acre, mainly LA County, but it's crazy by the train and bus depots, so that's another thing that we got to deal with. But I don't think we're going to vote for a train or a bus depot here, but no telling this state they'll probably have our bus stops become qualified for that. I don't know. I mean, they're going to, if we win the tax thing, they're going to, pretty much like extortion for 175K. It's crazy. But that's another thing that they're looking into. I attended to IREN, which is the Inland Regional Energy Network. It's a great program. Colton Joint Unified was part of the benefit from there. I think 85,000 plus for rehabbing their lights. I know we have a fellow here with a fellowship, but she helps the city look for grants and stuff. And I'm going to have them come out and give a presentation. They have 2 things to make it a search engine. For example, if your heating or air go out and you're looking through all the grants and stuff, IREN's going to have a one search engine and put some information. It's really easy to walk through, and it'll take you right to where you qualify and what you don't qualify, but mainly what you qualify and the resources. And the same with jobs. They have engineers, electronics, all kinds of good, I don't even call them jobs, these are careers. And I asked them also to go to the community cabinet meeting for that too, to let these young kids here that we have in our high schools with their science and engineer program. And I know we've been here, and I know Councilman Allen's been preaching to the choir on this, but trash separation. I was all proud of myself because I got a letter to separate my trash, and I did it. I was digging through the trash and putting food items in the green waste bin and doing all that. And then, wouldn't you know it, they came in and inspect my trash cans, but I thought, oh, I'm going to be all right. But my wife put refried beans in the black trash can. So I got a little notice saying, you didn't pass, but they're coming around. And we bought a little tiny receptacle for the food, and I hear from my wife every day how this is stupid, but you know, she's telling me about it. But just, I don't know if they're ever going to give citations one day, but just be ready. So if you can, and then working on that. Actually, I have less stuff going in the black bin than anything else. So, and I know Councilman Allen wants to.
They give awards.
They have awards.
They give $100
Wow.
if you're doing it the right way, because one of our residents got it.
Yeah.
Heather.
So my wife just stole $100 from me, probably. I don't know. But they do have that, and you know, it just takes time, and I know kids are, just like water conservation, just got to learn. So, but yeah, thank you to our Assemblywoman for providing backpacks, and the county for providing health checkups, and, you know, Living Word Church volunteers providing haircuts. I mean, what a blessing, and for that. So that's all I have. Conrad?
Yeah, two things. First, back to the water quality. I will be bringing an action to council to oppose that, and there will be a meeting at the Loma Linda City Hall on August 24th is the next scheduled one. So the next meeting will bring a bunch of stuff forward for that to work in opposition. We have been working for several months on an AI platform to help provide information to the residents, particularly after-hours call-in, direct them to websites and information. We will be going live on that on the weekend of the 8th for after-hours only. So if you call in at 3 in the morning and you get a voice, it's not really us, but please be patient with us as we train the AI. The more questions we ask, the more hits, the more answers, the smarter it will get. And this is going to be, early on, a very dumb child as we train them up and get this to be a usable product. So we'll be going live on the 8th for after hours only. So and then as we get better and better, we'll bring it online. And that is it for us.
Okay, Lieutenant Fries?
Yep, nothing to pass down tonight.
Assistant Fire Chief Gary. So is that everybody's name, Gary? There, is that how you get promoted, Gary?
Yeah, it's all of our names. Gary.
Oh, I'm
We're all
glad,
named
yeah,
Gary.
because, you have anything to pass on?
No,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we don't have any pass on, so just remember, this agenda, tonight's meeting is closing in honor of Mario Sanchez and the family. You know, God bless them, and just, Lord, just give them comfort during this time of need. And I want to thank my council members for a great meeting to get stuff done, and I'm asking the residents for help, like I said, on this tax initiative. Help us to help you, and it's a win-win situation. So we're going to close. Our next regular council meeting be August 11th at 6 p.m. Any request to have the item placed on a future agenda may be in writing and submitted. I won't be here August 11th, so Mayor Pro Tem, you'll have to run the council meeting. I'll be moving my son to Wyoming. And I will not be taking pictures by the buffalo. I saw that guy flying, so that I can't do that. My back will hurt. So God bless everybody. God bless the Sanchez family, and God bless Grand Terrace. Good night.